let's say you're in Henry County and you look at a property that's 200,000, but then you also look at a property in Clayton County that's 200,000. The taxes aren't going to be the same.
Right.
The homeowner's insurance isn't going to be the same. You could be inside of city limits in Henry County and not in city limits in Clayton County. So I don't care what anybody tell you, including your realtor or your lender. It is not a percentage of the closing cost of the sales price. It's no way it can be. It's no way it can be. Even if they give you a figure of, hey, it's generally 3.5%, that's not true. We're in a market where they have something called discount points. Discount points is what's used to get the actual rate that you have. And in this market, most all loans have discount points or your rate is slightly higher. So let's say, example, on a property you're looking to buy, you talk to your lender and they say, hey, we can get you a 6.5% interest rate. However, it's going to cost you 1 point. That's a discount point. A discount point is 1% of the loan amount. So that's 1% there. If you're inside of Stockbridge city limits and stop in Henry County county limits, that's going to put you probably at 3% right there because the taxes are higher in those areas because of the school districts, right? So closing costs is not a percentage like discount. I mean, closing costs is not a percentage like the down payment portion. So from the lender standpoint, what we typically charge, we charge an underwriting and appraisal fee. Those could vary combined together. I'm going to say the average is probably somewhere around $1,200 to $1,500, depending on your lender for the underwriting and processing. That's where the processor gets paid for processing your loan and the underwriter gets paid for underwriting your loan. Now, on top of that, you have discount points. Discount points is exactly what I described. It's what it costs to get that interest rate, right? Now, some companies also charge an origination fee. The origination fee is equivalent to a discount point, but they use the origination fee as a charge to do the actual loan. So you could hear that one company doesn't charge discount points, but they charge an origination fee. It's going to be the same in terms of pricing. Sometimes, and I may be getting too deep, but sometimes companies use origination fees to help offset what they don't or can't charge in discount points. So it's a little bit of mortgage magic, but they do it right. Now, those are the fees that lenders charge. People say, oh, well, there's a whole bunch of junk. I'll let Jacinda talk about that part. Jacinda, what do attorneys charge in closing costs? And I'll ask you a couple questions.
So typically, as attorneys, we put on the HUD, we put an attorney fee, which typically is anywhere from $600 to $1,000. Sometimes it can be a little bit more depending on what firm you're using. We're going to put a title fee, and that encompasses like us pulling the actual documents, making sure the house is clear, and the attorney's review, right? Review of that. We also include title insurance. Most lenders require it. So there'll be a lender's title insurance policy that protects the lender, and then an owner's title insurance policy that protects you. Title insurance is just like if anything happens, if anything's on the title that the attorney missed, it basically covers you. So you're not allowed, it'll just make sure you don't have to come out of pocket if something happens, right? That's like any other insurance. Just in case something happens, it's there. It's a one-time fee that's paid at closing. We also are required to put taxes on there. So like what Kevin was saying, we're required to prorate taxes. So the city or county taxes, we'll prorate those, put those on there. There's also transfer tax. Okay, the state of Georgia has a transfer tax that is 3% of the sales price. That's the only set percentage that we actually have. Okay, so you'll pay transfer tax, and then there'll be like some fees. There'll be like recording fees, things that are required by the county. Those will be on there as well. So there's a whole category of what we call closing costs. And when you look at what your lender sends to you, it's going to be on page 2 of that estimated CD or HUD, depending on what your lender uses. You'll see a breakdown of the estimated closing costs.
Gotcha. So another fee that I forgot to mention is there's going to be a fee for credit reports that lenders charge. Credit reports are not free. They cost the lender, right? And the only, well, not the only time, most lenders don't charge you for the credit report fee until you go to closing, right? So it costs them to pull credit, and they pass that charge on to you once you go to closing. Now, I do know that because credit report fees have increased drastically over the last year or so, that some lenders are charging you to pull your credit. I can see it in both ways, right? I can see it as a cost of reducing and doing business. Right now, I talk to different brokers and mortgage companies, and sometimes just credit reports alone, their bills are $5,000 and $6,000 a month. If they don't close a single one of those loans, they still have a $5,000 or $6,000 bill that they have to pay out. So that one, it does a couple of things. It keeps people sometimes from shopping, or if you know you have to pay to play, then you're kind of hesitant of saying, hey, I'm going to apply with this person if you're not going to go with them and be serious, or if you're not in position, right? And that it costs, just to give you an example, it costs to do a soft pull or a hard pull. And if they pull it multiple times, they pass that on to you as well, whether it's before closing or at closing. So that's a fee. When you look at um, the HUD or the CD, right? And or if your agent reviews it with you, sometimes they'll call things junk fees. We can't really charge outside of what we can charge. It's illegal. So if it's on there, it's because we utilized it and you have to we pass it along to the buyer because you're purchasing a home. And that's common. Just like the seller has to give you their remaining tax bill and you reimburse them, it's the same thing with us. We just pass it along to you guys, and it's not junk fees. I had one person tell me, hey, what's this $10 fee that Georgia's charging? That goes to Georgia. It doesn't go to the lender. It goes to Georgia. You're going
Sure
to run
does.
across a
Mhm.
ton of little fees like recordation fees,
Mhm.
carrier fees, like all of those things get charged to you because you're closing on the home, and the people have to be paid. It's not the attorney trying to nickel and dime you, and it's not the lender trying to nickel and dime you. Everybody wants to get paid, and guess who they're going to come to for their money once it goes? The attorney's office.
Yep, they want their money and they want it immediately upon closing. So I do want to clarify too that, yeah, I agree. There are no junk fees. Like literally, it's part of our responsibility to make sure there are no junk fees and that the fees are correct according to the terms of the contract. So that's kind of like our role. But when it comes to the Georgia state fees, like we actually have to get it done within a certain time frame or we get fined. So it's very
Wow.
important that not only do we make sure that it's there, if for some reason we leave it off and you guys don't pay it, we still have to pay it. We have to come out of pocket and pay it. Like it has to be done. So just
Wow.
know that that's the reason why we're like, okay, I just want to make sure it's right, make sure the CD is correct because we have to pay those fees and we have to record your title, like your deeds, within a certain amount of time or we get fined.
Wow.